Going to call this meeting to order. The special meeting of the Board of Equalization. It is last day of the month, Friday, May 31st, 2024. It's 9:30 a.m. and we're all here. Mr. Town,
present.
Ms. Sellers,
present.
Ms. Thompson, Mike, and Steve are here. So, first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of May 22nd, 2024. Is there a motion?
Yeah, move item 1 to approve the minutes of 5/22/24.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, second item on the agenda has been set. BOE 229 by agreement of the parties. Next item, BOE 441 was set by agreement of the parties. Item 4, BOE 442 set by agreement of the parties. Item 5, 443, 809 Woodland Way. So we have 141.5 for the assessor and 137.5 for Mr. Hayes.
Mr. Hayes was asking for 137.5. I think is what you said. He was basing that off of just comp
1 and 4.
I don't agree with using just 2 comps. I thought the assessor's comps were good. Plus, they used a couple of the taxpayer comps.
Right.
When he did his, so I'm good with the assessor's valuation of 141.5.
I am too. That's lower than the median and the mean. So I'd like to move on BOE number 4, or I'm sorry, BOE 443, agenda item
5.
That we set the fair market value of the property at $141,500.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, next item, BOE 6 on the agenda, BOE 426. Mr. Hayes was at 314. The assessor's at 320. And it's just a 4% raise over the previous year, which was 308. It's at Rockwell and Memorial. It's a 2,541 square foot house.
I'm good with the assessor's comps on this one. Again, he used some of the taxpayer provided comps. And as you mentioned, it's in line with the increase over the 2023 valuation as well. The assessor's comps all look good. They're all 2023. They're all pretty close in square footage and proximity.
Right. One of Mr. Hayes' arguments was comp 4 and 5 had high prices, but they were still in line with the other properties. So I'm good with the assessor as well.
I'll make a motion on BOE 426, item number 6 on the agenda, to set the fair market value at $320,000 by agreement of the parties.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so 427, I'm sorry. We're at 427, BOE 427 was set by agreement of the parties. Okay, then item 8 on the agenda is BOE 428, 7329 Northwest 115th. The assessor is at 271. He was at 259 the year before. And he's way below the median, and the median was 291,556, and the mean was 289.28. Mr. Hayes wants 266.5. He only relied on 2 comps 1 and 3.
Yeah, I think part of the issue on this one was the comps were probably difficult to come by. They were all more than a half a mile away, and even the square footage is a little bit questionable on a couple of them. There's a little bit of a difference in that, but the valuation over the sale price in 2022, it sold for $270,000. I don't think the 271 is unreasonable at all.
I don't either. That's only a 4.4% increase below the average, and they say comps were hard to come by, but I feel like 271 was good and proper. So on agenda item 8, BOE 428, I move to set the fair market value of this property at $271,000.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, next item is BOE number 429. and it is at 4213 Northwest 61st. Mr. Hayes took the mean of all six. He's asking 240,500. The assessor is at 246,500. We had means and medians of 246, 246,352, and 240,534. When they ran comps using the ones that Mr. Hayes' group offered, the median was 254,689 and the mean was 248,874. So the assessor is even below using the taxpayers' comps.
Yeah, I believe Mr. Hayes' argument was he was using the mean of the assessor's comps, which he's right, does come in at 240.5, but and the assessor was using the median. But I'm good because the assessor, when he ran his, he also used some of the taxpayer comps. The comps are all fairly close in range from 205 to 264, so I didn't think that was too bad. There was one comp 5, that was 1470 square feet, and the subject was 1835, so it's about 400 square feet difference. But even when you take that one out and just do the 5 comps, it still comes to 247.5. So I'm good with the 246.5.
I am too.
Go there.
So I'll make a motion on BOE 429, item number 9 on the agenda, to set the fair market value at 246,500.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, item 10 on the agenda was BOE 430 was set by agreement of the parties. And so item 11 is BOE 431. Mr. Hayes was at 503,500. The assessor is at 516,500. He did 1, 4, and 5, plus he took an average of 2 and 3 to arrive at his 503. This property was bought in May of 22 for 487,500. But the assessor is well below the median, which was 521,504. The mean, I'm having problems reading my handwriting, 515,504. Yes.
I struggled with this one a little bit.
I did too.
Yeah, comp 6 is the one that he called out as an outlier. I'm not sure if I agree with his reasons why it was an outlier, but it was larger in square footage. It was 3,390 compared to 2,744 for the subject property, so it was more than 600 square feet larger, and it was considerably more expensive. So when I reran the comps without the comp 6, it comes to 511.
Now, I could go with the mean, or I could go with 511. I didn't think 516.5 with that, with number 6 in there probably.
I'd go with the mean. And I'm correct, the mean was 515,504?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I would go with.
I'm good with that as well.
Okay.
515,400 or 04?
504.
515,504, yeah.
515.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'll make the motion on BOE 431, item number 11 on the agenda, to set the fair market value at $515,504.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, the next item on the agenda was set by order of agreement of the parties. That was BOE number 432, item 12 on the agenda. Item 13 on the agenda is BOE 433, 4201 Northwest 43rd. Mr. Hayes is at 187.5, and the assessor is at 202, up from 193 and the year before. Mr. Hayes, I got scratch outs because he must have kept changing his mind. He used comp 1, 2, and 5. We have a median of 205,000 and a mean of 206,000, so the assessor is below both of those.
This one had a comp 6 in this, had $49,000 in adjustments off of a $200,000 property, and I thought that was a little too much to include. I just left that out and ran it and came up with a mean of 200,597.
But you
Yeah, I did something similar, only I left out comp 6 and comp 4, because comp 4 also was quite a bit smaller in square footage, and I came up with 202. So I'm good with either one of those. What was your number, Brett? 211? No, 20?
Mine was 200,597. See, but the assessors is 202,000.
It's 202,000.
Oh yeah, and I'm sorry, I came up to 197.5 when I took
Okay.
out. So I'm good with the 200,597.
Okay. So I'd like to move on BOE 433 that we set, agenda item 13, we set the fair market value of this property at $200,597.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Did you get that, Mike? 200,000. You good with that?
Not up to me.
Okay, so, the next item is next item is item 14, BOE number 434, 5016 Northwest 26. Mr. Hayes used comps 1, 2, and 3 and set his value at 271,000. The assessor is at 286,500. This one had, he's above this time on the median and the mean. In 23, it was 264,500, which I have that as an 8.3 increase from 22 to 23. If I'm saying that correctly, 22 to 23, yes. This is the 23rd in my cards. What'd you do, Teresa?
Yeah, I looked at this one a couple of different ways because you're right. The mean is a little bit lower, and the increase over 2023 is a little bit lower. But I reran it just using comps 1, 3, and 4 because they were closer in size to the subject property.
Okay.
And I came up with 290,421, which supports
The
the assessor's valuation. That was his median. And so I think based off of that, I was okay with it.
I am to
Okay.
286,500.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion on BOE 434, item number 14 on the agenda, to set the fair market value at 286,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 15 on the agenda is BOE 435, 7400 Northwest 18th. That's at 16th and Rockwell, thereabouts. Mr. Hayes wanted 178,500, and he used he dropped comp 5. The assessor is at 190. It was 175 the year before. I'm not recording a median and a mean on this one.
The median was 192,284, but the mean was 183,248. So the mean was lower, but the median was higher.
Okay. But you have Brett.
I felt like the assessor's number was supported with the comps and all, so I'm good with 190,000.
Yeah, I was too. Comp 5 that he was suggesting dropping was one of the comps that was provided by them as well. So I didn't agree with dropping that comp. It was the median, and I think the comps looked pretty good. So I'm good with the 190.
So on agenda item 15, BOE 435, move to set the fair market value of this property at $190,000.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's see. Next is, what was 436? What are we looking for? 437. Okay, item 17 on the agenda is BOE 437, 320 Northwest 118th. That's at 122nd and Western. Mr. Hayes wanted 129.5. The assessor is at 132.5. This one had a median, this can't be right, anyway, 128,386 and a mean of 139,888. Did I say that right, Teresa?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It seems backwards, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This one was a little off.
But it's a 6.8% increase over 124,000 the year before. So he's, I don't know. What did you What do you advocate, Brett?
Well, I thought the assessor's value looked fair to me.
Yeah. You agree?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why I highlighted, what I did, because it's not making sense to me now. I looked at it a couple of days ago. But the assessors, let's see, looks like he based his off of he was looking for 128, 132.5, which
Right.
is, right, that's the number which he's basing off of the
In
mean. And it works with the 2023 valuation as well.
Yes.
It looks like he came up with his by deleting comp 1,
Mhm.
but I don't see any good reason for deleting comp 1.
I didn't either.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, you did 2%. I can
Yeah.
go with the assessor on this one.
Yeah, I'm good with the assessor as
Okay.
well. So I'll make a motion on BOE 437, item number 17 on the agenda to set the fair market value at $132,500.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, item 18 on the agenda is BOE 438, address 849 Northwest 104th. It's at Hefner and Western. Mr. Hayes wants 153.5. He tossed comp 4. The assessor's at 161.5. He used the assessor used 3 of the taxpayers' comps, and he has, on 6 comps, he has a median of 154,713, but a mean of 164,108. So he's in between the two.
Yeah, the assessor seems to be basing his off of the mean, which was 164.
Mhm.
As a median, I have a note that says it came in at 154.7.
Yeah, 713.
Yeah, the 2023 valuation supports the 161 as well. And for some reason, I reran it just using comp 1 and 6. I must have thought, 23.
Mr. Hayes just tossed 4.
Yeah, I'm not trying to remember why I used that, because we had other 2023. He tossed 4 because it was a 21 comp. I'm sorry, no, comp 5 was a 21 comp. So comp 4, he said it was probably a remodel, so I don't agree with what he was suggesting.
I can go with the assessor on this
I
one.
agree. I think the assessor's on.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
All right. I'd like to move on BOE 438, agenda item 18, that we set the fair market value of the property at $161,500.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, item 19, BOE 439 was set with agreement of the parties. Item 20 on the agenda, BOE 440 was set by agreement of the parties. Okay, so next. 440. It's BOE 473. Turn back, because I messed up my pages. Okay. 473.
That's the start of the pivotal commercial.
There we go. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Item BOE 473 is materials packing, 6500 South Sunny Lane, and the assessor's asking for 3,000,001. No, yes, 3,000,001.
3,102,849.
Okay, and they were asking for 2 million on the other side. They used a 10% cap rate. This is the brick place, yes. Okay, 9 acres. He did a sales comp, 40 per square foot. He did the income pro forma, and then he had problems with comp 4. 2.8. He said he could go as high as 2.8. That's the last thing Mr. Tenenbaum said. So at that point, we're splitting the difference between 2.8 and 3.1. And I'm not sure Mr. Tannenbaum gave accurate account of the paving. I think Steve told us there was a lot of paving on this one. We plus 3.5 acres. What do you think?
Well, I really think it may be somewhere between 2.8 and 3.1. I'm 2.8. I don't think I could go with.
So here's what I did, because it seemed to be based off of the square footage on this one.
Right.
The comps were what the challenge were, because
Yes.
the assessor had a couple of 2021 comps in there, but the taxpayer had comps that were half the size of
Right.
the subject property. So what I did is I reran it using the assessor's comp 1 and 2, which was both 2023 comps, and the taxpayer's comp 1, even though it was a northwest property, it was a 2023 comp. And I came up with 2,952,091 using that method. I also reran it just using the assessor's comp 1 and 2. It comes out to 3.4, which supports the assessor's valuation, but I'm not sure using just two comps is fair.
What do you think, Brett? So you want to, how about we do 2 million,
2.9.
well, I was
Or
going to say,
3. I could go.
yeah, 2.93.
No, I can go 3 or 2.95.
2.95.
Okay, yeah, I said 2.95. Okay. I can agree with 2.95.
All right. So on BOE 473, agenda item 21, I'm going to set the fair market value of this property at $2,950,000.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next on the agenda is 474, BOE 474, which is item 22 on the agenda. This is the land only. It's at Western and Memorial. The assessor is at 2,590,000. Is that correct? 2.59.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And 500.
and 500, and the taxpayer is at 2 million. He said approximately 2 million.
Yeah.
So
So
so we're 500,000 apart.
well, or this one, the taxpayer's at $4.86 a square foot. The assessor, remember what he was.
6.31.
But when you average those four comps, it comes up to $7.34, which would set the value at $3,011,860.
Above what the assessor is asking.
And that's above what the assessor is asking. This property is next to he can say we can't introduce it, but you can just look at any aerial and it's next to what used to be the Volkswagen. I think now Cooper owns it.
Right.
And it's on the north side of Memorial. It's a high value property.
Very. I could go with the assessor's valuation on this.
I could go with it, at least that.
Yeah, I'm leaning, I am as well. I even reran it. And to me, this one would seem to be calculated more off of acreage than because it was a land only. But even when I ran all of those comps, even when I reran it just using comps 1, 2, and 3 and took 4 out, the assessor's comp 4 out because it was a 2022 comp, it still supports the valuation of 2.59. So I think that was 2023 increase also supports
I can go with that. This is one that may be a little bit higher than that, but we'll go with the assessor.
Okay, so I will make a motion on BOE 474, item number 22 on the agenda, to set the fair market value at $2,590,500.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is BOE 489. It's item 23 on the agenda. 6,000 East I-240 Service Road. These are apartments. The assessor's at 7 million?
Yes, we reduced it in an informal to 7 million.
That's, I got an arrow 10 down. So down from, started out at 10, went down to 7.
Yep.
And the property owner wants 5.5.
Well, on this one, agenda item 23, BOE 48900, set the market value, fair market value at $7 million.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 24, BOE 475 was pulled. Next item, BOE 476 is item 25 on the agenda. 1716 Signal Ridge Vale.
These are those, that pod of 4 buildings.
That.
2 of them are identical. There's 2 identical in each one.
Okay, yeah. Where's it that one?
Are you at 475?
76.
476. We pulled 475.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
It's 2/3 vacant, and the taxpayer wants, property owner wants 1.3, and the assessor's at 1.6. Why do I have 1,608,000?
I'm sorry, I told you wrong a minute ago. This is not that quad in part.
Yeah, the assessor was asking 1.6.
Okay. And the property owner wants 1.3.
Correct.
It sold 1.45.
In 2020.
Was 100% leased. Now it's only 2/3. It says 2/3 vacant.
Yeah.
That's the note I had.
Yeah, the only thing that I think was questionable here that I think the assessor even mentioned was that I think he had done his vacancy calculation at 11% rather than the 2/3. But when I rerun it based off of the price per square feet, the assessor's valuation does support it, as does the 2023 increase, and I think probably even based off of that purchase price.
And the only thing that bothers me is the vacancy rate at this
Yeah.
point.
Me too. Now, the taxpayer comps, they were really old comps.
Yeah.
So I couldn't give any of theirs any credence at all, but theirs seemed to be based off of their income value, I believe. Which was I think the assessor's income value was 1.6, the taxpayers was 1.3, and therein lies our discrepancy.
Well, is there any consideration to being 66% vacant versus 11% vacant in the calculations?
I don't believe there is. I think that was one of the things that Steve mentioned, that he wasn't aware of that vacancy when he did the calculation on that vacancy. This is the one that we took out of order.
No. I could go with the assessor's valuation. It's not that, we're talking 300,000. Is all we're talking, the difference, right?
Right. No, I could not go with the taxpayers.
No, I agree.
That's
I wouldn't go that low.
I was looking for something between maybe 1.5, which would give some credence to
To the vacancy.
to the vacant 2/3 vacancy.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. 1.5?
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to move on BOE 476, agenda item 25. We set the fair market value of this property for this year at $1,500,000.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is BOE 477, which is 3401 Northwest 63rd. This is this building sitting right by Lake Hefner Parkway. This was the one tenant, was where the tenant moved out, was the, isn't this the one where the insurance company moved out?
Chicago title move.
The title moved, the title. Okay, so the assessor is at 7.7 million, and the property owner would like it to be 4,899,000. was valued at $100 a square foot in comp sales. They bought this in December of 22 for $8.5 million when it was 100% occupied. So, a year later, less than a year later, the assessor has diminished the value to 7.7. So,
Yeah, he raised it though from 2022, from 5.9 to 7.7 in 2023. And I don't believe that is this the one where they said they missed the time?
To protest.
to protest.
Yeah, to protest. I don't recall if that's it or not, but I don't believe they protested it last year.
They did not.
Yeah, and I think the thing that was really concerning me on this one was the Potawatomi comp, because it was 27,000 square feet, 27 million square feet. It
Oh,
was
the
a very,
Northwest Highway.
very large property.
Northwest Highway.
Yeah. And when you rerun the comps without that comp, it comes to 5.2.
Oh,
If I did that right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I did it right.
did you recalculate that?
I just looked at the consideration of the vacancy rate of 40% now versus 100%.
Before.
And I dropped the assessor's valuation by 20% for that. It was around 6.2 million.
I can live with that.
Okay.
40% vacancy rate on a building like that's pretty significant.
Am I at the right building, guys? Am I the one, is this at 63rd near the Lake Haven apartment? Okay. Okay, 6 point how much?
6.2 million is what I was
You agree with that?
I'm good with that.
Okay, somebody give me a motion.
Okay, BOE 477, agenda item 26, move to set the fair market value at $6,200,000.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item 27 on the agenda is BOE 478, 14001 Macaulay Boulevard, 82% vacant since COVID. 2.8 million. The sale was for 2.8 million in 2010. We did rent, well, the assessor did rent rolls, has 2 tenants, 30% vacancy, a 9.5 cap, and did sales. 1.6 on the comps is the full average with income analysis. Okay, so 0.65 acres. This is the one that's behind Panera on the north side of Memorial?
Yes.
Okay.
And this one's been at 1.9 since 2020.
Right.
So, yeah, this one I struggled with a little bit. The comps were all 2022 comps, so it's probably difficult to find comps. And this is also the one that had it going up it's up for auction with a starting bid of $550,000 and 82% vacant due to COVID, as you mentioned. So their net income is really, really low on this one. And the assessors was based off of a 30% vacancy rate versus the 82%. What do you see, Brett?
Do you have a number, Teresa?
I don't.
82% vacancy is, since 2020, is the problem for me.
Yeah, me too.
And even though the assessor's valuation had been frozen for 2 years, I mean, the building is worth something. Starting bid on it is over $500,000 we've seen, so I don't know, I'm willing to listen to you. What basically I did is I lowered the assessor's calculation by 50% because of the vacancy rate, and came up with $968,000. But that may be too
That may
too
be a
low.
bit low.
Yeah.
I could go with $1.3 million. That's almost a 30% reduction.
What's the taxpayer asking for? 850, 849,000?
849,000.
I lean more towards you, Eleanor, and the 1.3. I'm not comfortable going as low as, I'm not sure, what'd you say, 1,000,000 or 900?
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of my bottom, but
Yeah,
I'm looking for you all too for an opinion. And I think 1.3 is probably right. Like I say, the vacancy rate, it's all going to be settled in the wash here in a few months.
Yeah.
So,
right.
so it'll be, whatever we do will be set by the new buyer.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we'll start from there with
Yeah.
that rate, sales rate. So I could go 1.3.
Okay, so I'll make a motion on BOE 478, item number 27 on the agenda to set the fair market value at $1,300,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Now this is that apartment. These are those quads. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
that's right.
misspoke a while ago.
This was yesterday. So BOE 479 is item 28 on the agenda. And it is 7312 Northwest 164th. The assessor is at $2,209,660. And the property owner is asking for, it started out at $1,725,779, but he could live with a flat $2 million. There was a mean in the sales of 2.250. In 22, this was valued at $2,125,000. So it didn't get raised very much at all. The property owner had a problem with comp 2. Yeah, okay, that was that comp. And he is going to have the same problem with 480 on that comp 2. If he could live with 2 and the assessor is at $2,209,000.
Yeah, I had a note on this one that the assessor said that he based his sales, his price, his cost off of the sales comps and the income, but he thought it was probably somewhere in between. And I believe, Brett, you were the one that pointed out that comp 2 was tilt-up concrete.
Yeah.
Which probably made it a lot more valuable, but it's maybe not a good comp. So I reran using comp 1 and 3 and looking at the income value, looking at the average between those two, and it came up with $2,019,679. So that seems to go, 2 million is what, but I don't show where the taxpayer said that he would agree to the 2 million. I show he was asking for 1.7.
He said he could live with an undrew circle around it. Did you write that down?
No, I had his initial ask was 1,720,000.
Right.
Then he could go up to 1,008,000.
No, he said he could live with 2 million.
Okay.
I wrote it down even in shorthand, so I know he said.
Okay.
That's okay. So, Teresa said 2.19.
Yeah, I mean, it would, yeah, if we were gonna round it, we would round it to 2 million.
And I had a dollar value of
Oh, 2,019,000?
Mhm.
2 million, so I could live with 2,019,000.
Okay.
So on BOE 479, agenda item 28, I'm going to set the fair market value of this property at $2,019,000.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Set. Okay, the next one is BOE 480, which is 29 on the agenda. 7304 Northwest 164th. This is the second building. And this one had higher income, though it's fewer square feet, and same problem comp. So the assessor is at $1,964,140, and the person is at $1,868,211. So they're not even, they're $96,000 per person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even
I felt like the assessor was the value on this one I could go with.
I agree. So I'll make a motion on BOE 480, item number 29 on the agenda to set the fair market value at $1,964,140.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so item 30 on the agenda is, BOE number 493. 701 West Sheridan, number 100.
This is the movie row area.
That's right.
Film
Film
roll.
Film roll. Okay, so, the property owner wants $3,226,212. A 7 cap rate, you get rent roll and sales. For sales, his median was $3,600,000, average $2,733,500. The assessor is asking for $3,822,307. In 22, it had the same valuation. It's 78% occupied.
Yeah, the assessor said on this one that he didn't like his comps. And I'd have to agree, a couple 2021 comps and a 2022, but it's kind of all we've got to go off of other than that income value, which is what the taxpayer is asking for. The comps look good though in terms of size and location. It's just the age of those comps that's challenging. So when I do rerun it based off of the square footage, the mean is 3.6 million. The mean based strictly off of the purchase price is 2.7 million, so it's quite a bit lower. You know, I don't know, the 2023, the increase over 2023, the fact that they bought it in 2014 for 3.5 million, though, also really plays into it as well.
And that's a hot area.
Yeah.
I didn't have any problem with the assessor's valuation because it was the same as it was a year before. And that area,
For the last 3 years, for that matter, it's been that since 2021.
and that area is, it's just a hot area. And they didn't give me any reason to diminish the value in the sense of needed repairs. 78% occupied is pretty good. I mean, it's
For that area.
for that area. And they're not that far apart. We're talking 600,000. So, what you guys?
I can go either way
I
on
can.
this one.
I can freeze it for another year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So on BOE 493, agenda item 30, move to set the fair market value of the property at $3,822,307.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're looking for 481 was set by agreement of the parties. Item 31 on the agenda. So item 32 on the agenda is 482, BOE 482. The assessor began at $9,906,000 and dropped to $9,500,000 flat. And the property owner is requesting $8,500,000. This is 44th and Sunny Lane. If there's a valuation, it was at $13,300 per unit. What is $7,993,000? Is that income?
Comps.
That's comps, okay.
And then I had income at $13,300,000.
$300,000.
This is a high income, low value, high income property.
Right, and it's 80% occupied.
83%. Yeah.
And they paid $13 million
22.
in 22. So I was asking if this was perhaps an auction thing that drove the price up so far. This one needs some repairs, right?
Right.
But I think the assessor took those repairs into consideration
Well, yeah,
when they lowered it
he
from
did.
9.9 to 9.5.
But I think that was the owner's.
Well, I just think due to the income that this is producing, the 9.5 is probably a
Fair.
fair valuation.
You think so, Teresa?
Can you repeat what you
He said that because of the income that it's producing, the 9,000,005 is a fair assessment.
Yeah, I have a note though under the assessor's heading. Post issues, used from 99 to 9.5 based on that. I had a note in that was somewhere in between the sales price and the income value. The income value was 7.9.
7,993, Ms. will say 8.
Which is what the 9 point, oh, that's how he came up with his calculation. So
Right.
yeah, I agree, the 9.5.
Yes.
Yeah, I just used the per unit income times 224.
Right.
And it still supports the assessor's valuation.
And I'm gonna run it right now. Because I don't think I put in the
Vacancy.
vacancy in time. $10 million, 10.9 is still there, so.
So if it's a
So
9.5
looks good. then.
looks good.
All right, so I'll make a motion on BOE 482, item number 32 on the agenda to set the fair market value at $9,500,000.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, last item on the agenda is BOE 502 1300, that 3 zeros mine, so it's so big. North May Avenue. Is this the residential?
This is the assisted living
Assisted
center
living,
that
yeah.
Mr. Malden had there on
Okay.
North Main.
Okay, and he wanted 10,000,005 and you're at 15,215,420. Okay, I don't have remember what a vacancy rate was, I don't have that registered in my notes.
40%.
40%, 6%.
6%, okay.
Yeah, I think there was some question about the comps on this one because this facility is really large.
And
It's 182,000 and yeah, older. The comps were more than half, way more than half. It was 182,000 compared to 64,000, 53,000, and 24,000. Plus there was a couple of 2021 comps. So it's very difficult. However, when I do rerun it just based off of the square footage price, I come up with 22,000.
so he's low.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's the only fair way that obviously you can't use the mean or the
Right.
median of the
I see.
comps when the square footage is that much
Much
different.
different.
But if you do it based just off of the cost per square footage, is the only thing I can think. The 2023, now it has been frozen at that 215 for the last 4 years since 2020.
I didn't have any problem with the assessor's valuation, did you, Brett?
All right, so I'm good with that as well.
So on BOE 502, agenda item 33, move to set the fair market value of this property at $15,215,420.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, I did pretty good with
So
mine.
we're set for next week.
We're
It's
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay. All right.
Did we leave something out? Did we leave something out?
No,
Okay.
this question between us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Move to adjourn.
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, good.
Can I make a comment or a question?